the unity and the redemption of the African world.
Salute them honorable Marcus.
We were not ready to listen then.
They might not have been ready then.
There's wonder whether we are ready.
Ain't no doubt about it.
To listen.
You ready, baby?
Now.
Let's go. Yeah.
Flag fly high, flag fly high, flag fly high.
Black fist to the sky, breaking side to side. It's the
Flag fly high.
Come on.
Flag fly high, flag fly high, flag fly high.
All the trees on the rise, all eyes will recognize the
Flag fly high.
hold it high, let it fly. Record colors forever, mommy will never die. On the 90, the throne ready, let's take a ride. X, walk this, me and don't choose a side. This is the bad purple warriors. Seldom travel yet still vainglorious. Black power represents us. You either rolling with Africa or against us.
Flag fly high, flag fly high, flag fly high.
Black fists in the sky, breaking side to side. It's the
Flag fly high, flag fly high, flag fly high, flag fly high.
RPGs on the rise, all eyes will recognize the
Flag fly high.
Get ready for the blood. I got the best stock, the rest got stood. The black is for the gods, melanated and elevated, holding the main charge. The green is for the cradle, Africa, everything first, the earth's navel. This excellency, put it together as a symbol of liberation. That's how we get the letters, RPGs.
Flag fly high, flag fly high, flag fly high.
Black fists in the sky, breaking side to side. It's the
Flag fly high, flag fly high, flag fly high, flag fly high.
RPGs on the rise, all eyes will recognize the
Flag fly high.
This blind mind is 99. People on the low time. I was drab on my design. We roll ready. Hard line. Ain't no game for that red flame. True stage of that black bang. Revolution in my veins. Till we free, I won't change. And you can count on that like an African. Celebrate the victories and the challenges. This deeper than social media statuses. This lifestyle, elevation, building practices. Yeah.
Flag fly high, flag fly high, flag fly high.
Black fists in the sky, breaking side to side. It's the
Flag fly high, flag fly high, flag fly high, flag fly high.
RPGs on the rise, all eyes will recognize the
Flag fly high,
that red, black, green, RBG, I'm about that red, black, green, that RBG, I'm about that red, that black, that green, RBG, I'm about that red, black, green, that RBG, baby, RBG, baby.
fly high, my flag fly high, my flag fly high.
Shout out to all my RPGs worldwide. Doing this thing garbage style. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
Flag fly high, my flag fly high.
Come on.
Hotel. This is your brother, your RBG brother, Guy Nollywood Jr., and I'm coming to you with another exclusive program. As you can see, I have a special guest. Sister, you could press cam again. You should come back on. There you go. And I'll just let the beautiful sister introduce herself, tell her what you do, and let the people know who you are. Go ahead, sister.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the invitation to join your broadcast. I thank you, and I'm very happy that you have enough interest in me to share with the world. That's a very huge thing. So thank you so much for having me on. My name is Kilaika Anayajali Kwa Baruti Shakur. That's my full name. That's my African given name. That name means angel who cares for the teachers and is thankful to God. I was given that name by my political family. The name has evolved. It has some extensions on it, but that's who I am. My family giving me the birth name of Latrista. My government last name is Kimani Thoithi. That's my actual government name, Latrista Kimani Thoithi. But my family blessed me at birth with the name Angel. And I say blessed because that's what most people refer to when you're thankful for something, like you were given something that's a gift. Um, the name Angel has always resonated with me, and I guess I can expound on it a little bit more later. Mm-hmm. But that's my name. I'm 42 years of age, 42 years old.
What's up?
I'm a political activist. I'm a humanitarian. I'm a Pan-Africanist. I'm a socialist. I'm also a communist. I am an egalitarianist, and I'm many things, but I'm always primarily a woman, and I'm an African woman.
Right.
So I came into my political work at the age of 16 years old. So I've been having it on my mind to organize myself and the masses towards African socialism since the age of 16. Ever since I was a young girl, let me go before that. Mm-hmm. I always knew I was an African just because of the way that I looked. Mm-hmm. I have very distinct features, and my mom, because we were poor, my mom would read to us a lot. Mm-hmm. Some children would probably consider that some sort of punishment, but in my home, it was one that we was grateful for, me and my brother. My mom would read to me this book called The Girl Who Could Fly. I'm sorry. I'm thinking The People That Could Fly by Virginia Hamilton. Virginia Hamilton also had another book called Zeely. And Zeely was about a Sudanese girl who moved to the South Carolinas. And she was this very, very tall, statuesque, African, black, chocolate featured girl with very high cheekbones. Mm-hmm. And my mom always would tell me my cheekbones were like the cheekbones of Zeely. And because of it, my mom would call me Zeely as a joking gesture. But I read that book and I seen how the children of the South Carolinas, they really appreciated Zeely. They looked at her, they were like, wow. And so it was a book that had very positive images of the African from home. And she was just magnificent to them. So when I looked in the mirror, I saw Zeely. Mm-hmm. And at a very young age, I always looked at myself in the mirror as an African person. Mm-hmm. I may be 1 in 100 who actually have done that, So I'm very thankful at a very early age, I wasn't bombarded with the negative imagery of African people and the continent of Africa. I was happy to have that. But my true development of the thing, which is being African, came later at the age of 16. And I go more into it, you may have questions, but because I can talk a lot.
I mean, I got so much questions to ask you.
Yeah.
Dealing with what's going on in YouTube land with all this anti-Africa rhetoric that I keep hearing. But first, I want to ask you, what is, and I think the people want to know, what is a scientific? Well, you consider yourself a scientific socialist, right?
Yeah.
Explain to the people what does that mean?
Yeah, definitely. So, me telling you how I came into the political work kind of can flow into that. At the age of 16, I currently reside in Dallas, Texas. This is where my family lives. The majority of my family.
Mm-hmm.
I have a very small family.
Okay.
I started working at a store called Pan African Connection. And I say it that way just to articulate my words so that the viewers who have not had an opportunity to visit Pan African Connection can go online and check it out. It's a very resourceful bookstore, art gallery, place of learning, and a plethora of things that have to do with African people and African culture. It's Pan-African Connection. So I started working there when I was 16 years old. And when I visited Pan-African Connection and got the job, like right upon my arrival, they were just doing so many activities. There would be people to come and speak there. People like Louis Farrakhan, Francis Cress Welsing, Dr. Khalid Muhammad, a lot of notable African scholars and political activists, and people who I consider to be inspirational to me and world leaders. But my most memorable moment that I like to share with people is when I first saw Dr. Khalid Muhammad speak there at Pan African Connection. And like I said, I was just 16. I always knew I was an African, but I didn't know what it meant to be an African.
Right.
So Dr. Khalid, he was a short man. And he was bald, and his head was like glistening. And he had on his Panther uniform at this time. And he had an army of people behind him. And I make a point to say that he was short. But when he walked into the room, he was like this big. He was a giant. And he was a giant. And he, even as the man, was very regal. Without him opening his mouth, I knew that he was a man of honor, a man of dignity. He was the type of man that I had never seen before that I could commit to my memory. Never.
Right.
So it was mind-blowing to me. And then to see him, I was in awe. But I was even more so in awe when I seen African women that looked like me, that was dressed in African clothing. They were so beautiful. I never seen anything like it before. And it was just a truly amazing sight to see. And I was just floored. And from there, I wanted to be a part of it. It was like somebody smoking crack for the first time and they got addicted to it. It was like that for me. It was like my crack. So I wanted to feed into it. But what really played a great significant part in my life and brought me to be a scientific socialist was the life of a man named Bandeli Tahimba. Bandeli Tahimba is the founder of the Pan-African Connection. And this man, he started his life in Cleveland, Ohio. He moved to Dallas while being a member of the All African People Revolutionary Party. So his whole point was to create an environment that would be a tool, a resource to educate African people as myself. And he did just that. So not only did he sell items, books, clothing, jewelry, have events, but he was an organizer. He dedicated his life to organizing African people. And so under the banner of the All African Revolutionary Party, I came under his leadership and guidance at the age of 16. He was my best friend at the age of 16. He was the type of man that my mom had no problem whatsoever with him taking a role as my best friend. He was a upright citizen. He was a very, very respectable man. He is everything to me, like everything. So we organized inside the All African People Revolutionary Party. And that party is an international party that is based on the ideology of Kwame Nkrumah and Sekou Touré, who were both presidents in West African states. Kwame Nkrumah, Ghana, and Sekou Touré, Guinea-Conakry. So these two men helped lead Africa to their independence, helped lead the people from being subjected to colonialism. And they sparked a wave of numerous African countries being liberated. But not only did they do that, they both made contributions to having a worldview and saying to the world masses that African people's liberation means nothing unless all African people are free, meaning Africans at home, Africans in America, Africa in Cuba, Asia, Europe, all of Latin America, primarily. And also Africa's liberation will also be the guiding light and star to other countries that suffer from colonialism, that are non-African. So that was what they taught. And they left us blueprints to be able to continue to do that type of political work. Because of the men that they were and going up against European imperialism, they knew that it was necessary to find a way to keep the fire burning. And they left us those blueprints that I mentioned. Books like Africa on the Move by Sekou Touré, Handbook of Revolutionary Warfare by Kwame Nkrumah, Class Struggle in Africa by Nkrumah, Conscientism by Nkrumah, Africa, Strategies and Tactics of the Revolution by Sekou Touré. These books were formidable scientific plans of action that we can utilize to liberate the African continent. So they were scientific socialists. Now, the reason why we utilize the term, not just socialist, because we are socialists. To be socialist primarily, I understand that for African people and people of the world to be free, they have to be free of servitude of capitalism and imperialism. Mm-hmm. They are not to be used as a mode of production to produce wealth for the few. The mode of production and the labor, the fruit of the labor from the production in a socialist society belongs to the people. The people should be able to eat the fruit of their labor, plain and simple. Mm-hmm. We believe and understand that there should be a equal distribution of wealth, and that thinking comes in part of me being an egalitarianist. I believe in equality. So scientific socialism, the All African People Revolutionary Party, under the leadership of Kwame Nkrumah, and with his ideology, but under the leadership of Kwame Ture, who was formerly known as Stokely Carmichael, really helped us to understand why it's scientific. Because a lot of people hear the word socialism, and because we have been so indoctrinated with Western ideas and propaganda, we tend to shy away from it. And especially people who consider themselves Pan-Africanists or RBG or so forth don't want to have anything to do with Europe or this or that. And that term, in most people's brain, started from a European culture because of the work from men like Karl Marx, Frederick Engels, Hegel, Stalin, and people hear socialist or communist, and they're like, "Oh, that's European." But as a scientific socialist, you understand that a mode of production doesn't belong to any one person, any one group of people, you know what I'm saying? If I come to your house and you have a picture on the wall, like the picture you have behind you, and you have it framed a certain way, and I'm like, "Ooh, I like this," and it's your creation. Like, "Oh man, that's fly, that's dope." I reserve the right to study how you did that. And I reserve the right to let it influence me. And I reserve the right to go back to my home and do it to how it fits my interests. History is that thing for us. We must examine history. We must examine what has happened, understand what needs to happen to solve our problems. And so the concept of socialism for the African man and woman, when it comes to Nkrumah and Ture, they study revolution in the world. It's a natural thing to do when that's where you set your sights. So they studied these men, and they looked at Russia, they looked at China, like Mao, and they looked at Ho Chi Minh. Like, we want to know how a country like Vietnam can defeat America. That's something you must want to know. So we look at these different aspects in the world in revolutionary movements and say that's what they were battling against. Oh, that's the same thing that we're going through. They were dealing with colonialism. We're dealing with colonialism. But colonialism in Africa doesn't look the same as it does in Russia or as it does in China. there are specific factors that guide and dictate your emotion. Like you may have particular materials to create that very frame that I like. But when I come home, even though I liked it, I may not have the same materials. What I have may be different, but I have that concept, and so I can create it for how it works for me with what I got. So, in a nutshell, that's scientific socialism because we examine everything.
That's right. That's right.
Everything can be understood. Everything can be understood. We understand the concepts emotion, time, and matter. And we use these three things to make critical analysis of a situation, to assert ourselves, to make the best decisions that need to be made to guide our actions. So that's why we use the word science.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Science can be understood.
Right.
You know, be broken down to the minimal detail.
That's very interesting, you know, and I like how it makes sense how you just, like you say, you see things and you examine it and how you can apply it to yourselves and to your people, you know what I'm saying? And I like how you broke that down. I think, you know, and even with now, like we can use these, we can use these things as a tool. We could use people's experiences as a tool. Let's see. I'm sorry. Yes, brother Carl. We're gonna do definitely question and answer soon. Okay, so definitely. I'm gonna have you on, and you can talk to the sister yourself. All right. So all right. So yeah, we definitely gonna do some Q&A. So let me ask you a question. How do you address? Because I hear a lot of anti-African rhetoric from the Hebrew Israelites, the this you know the ADOS, the Aboriginals, the Moors. I mean, I just hear. I mean, and it seemed like to me, they just came out of nowhere and just because at one point everybody was on the same page. It just felt like everybody was on the same page. Everybody was pro-African. And all of a sudden, it's more like the government just said, you know what, let's get some of these black people to break that up. And then you got all these different groups just that came out a year ago or two. And then all of a sudden you have all these people that say, no, we're not African. And you got people just like bashing Pan-African and it's like, what is your thoughts on these groups that's coming out of the woodwork bashing black people who just want to come back home, bashing our people in the motherland? What is your thoughts on these groups?
So that's a very good question, and it's definitely one that needs to be addressed. I've been, like I said, organizing since I was 16. I'm 42 now. So the math on that is what, 20s? What? How many years is that? I'm good at science, but not as fast at math.
That's like 20-something years, something like that. You're right.
Yeah, 25, 27 years. I don't know. So it's been a while.
You close. Right.
Quite some time that I've been organizing. And brother, when I tell you, that is nothing new under the sun.
Right.
And we see it more because we now have these type of platforms where people have the tools to express themselves however they see fit. Keyword, how they see fit.
Right.
So basically, I can get on here and say whatever the fuck I want to say. We live in a society also called capitalism. Thank you, Brother Bakari. Thank you. If that's 26 plus 20.
Yeah, 26 years. 26 years. He got it.
Hey, that's 52. I'm 42. So
you sure?
I've been organized. I'm 42 years old. 42 minus 60.
Minus what? 6?
16.
16. Okay. All right, so Brother Bakari, redo the calculation again. 42 minus 16.
He might be right. More than likely he's right.
Brother Bakari.
More than likely he's right. So
right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But thank you for that. And that's why we have to help each other sometimes. But like I was saying, we live under capitalism. Capitalism is not just a system of government, but it's also a system of ideas. A system of ideas that hold that government in place. It comes with certain type of characteristics. We also refer to these characteristics as Western culture. Western culture is huge on the mentality of dog eat dog. You know what that means? Dog eat dog. It's based off of competition. It's based off of competition. It's based off of ego.
I was about to say that. Yeah.
Ego, arrogance, self-interest, individualism. Perfect. It is. It really is.
Thanks, Brother Bakari.
It's based on those things, right? And a lot of times, because people don't address the problems that's needed to solve African problems in a scientific way, those personalities, those things creep in because that's what's around us. So a lot of these people, particularly like the Hebrew Israelites that you mentioned, oh my God, ew. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're disgusting. Disgusting. Like, I cannot, I'm very passionate about myself and what I say. I cannot tell you how important it is for me to emphasize disgusting. Like, give me every synonym for the word disgusting. That's what they are. And it's very unfortunate. I don't see any sound solutions for organizing African people at all. It's a blatant attack. Why is it an attack? Because they embody without saying that capitalist idea. They want to look better than everybody. They want to isolate themselves from the rest of the world. Ain't nobody gonna rock with that shit. They know that, but they don't give a fuck because their interest in what they're not saying is that we don't give a fuck, but we just want to be cute. We just want to be controversial. We just want to have a platform. And people look for love in all types of different ways. People are hurting and dying on the inside daily. This is a manifestation of whatever the fuck they going through. But it's disgusting. And we have to develop a systematic army to clearly wipe that shit off the map.
Right.
Just like colonialism. Just like all the other isms that were anti our people's development. That shit is anti our people's development. When it comes to people who say, oh, I'm not African, I'm not, this or that. I'm a this, I'm a that. We have to understand the psychological effect that calling ourselves African or not has on us. We've been Black, we've been Negro, we've been colored, we've been African American, we've been everything but African. Oh, well,
exactly.
We was here first. Oh, we was this. We was in America first. All of that.
Or the best yet, we a new breed of people.
Truly,
don't know what that means.
And my heart goes down to these people. I still love them. Hebrew Israelites, they can just burn in the hell that they believe in. But I get these people because I understand their pain. We've been taught to hate Africa so much.
Right.
We want to be everything but that. We want to identify somewhat. We want to we want to be proud of ourselves. But to be Africa is so not cool.
Right.
No matter, they try to find every excuse in the world not to be African. So they call themselves a more. And they can argue it all they want, but I know the psychological effects that our people have suffered from. And I let them have it. I let them have it. I can actually work with these people. See, the thing is, they'll say something like, well, Africa ain't even really the name of it. Because it was discovered by Leo Africanus and this and that.
Yeah, which is false. I did a video on that. Yeah.
Man, that's an old tall tale. That European man named himself after Africa.
Yes, right.
You would say, where's this man from? It's from Europe.
You're right.
From Italy. So he'll have an Italian fucking name. Like his mama and daddy. It's just common sense. Africa, we have over thousands of languages. Thousands of languages.
That's right.
Yeah, it's been called Akibalun, Africa, Afro this, Afro that, whatever. It's fucking Africa. And on top of that, it's not only a question of the name of a land base, but it's a socio-political question. It's a socio-political question. In order to understand what has to happen in Africa, you have to be able to identify it. African people, whether you call yourself a fucking Moor, whatever, I don't know what else they calling themselves, but whatever you call yourself, with all due respect, to solve the problems of African people abroad, you have to identify with that land mass.
Exactly. As Sister Erica said, they said that we are hybrids.
They say a lot of things. They say a lot of things. Erica, you're right. They say a whole lot of stuff. And it's idiocracy. But it's idiocracy without humiliation. And a lot of times these people use these platforms to big up themselves. and they have no true intention of organizing the African masses. If you will constantly stay in a state of rigmarole, if you continue to identify yourself as a Moor, I'm indigenous. The slave ships was real, my nigga. It was real.
That. I proved that.
So who has that type of time to play the games with these people? And it's definitely not me. But I know a lot of Moors that I work with, and they come, they, respect whatever boundaries we have. We respect whatever boundaries they have. And we work together because we know it's not important to go back and forth. And if you do, you'll get booted. We're not going to go back and forth with that. But what we have to be careful with is how people utilize their propaganda and their information to organize and inform newcomers. Because there's people out there who coming into their knowledge of their self, of their culture, of their history, and they be looking for direction. And a lot of these sick people, they'll give them what they want to give them so they can jump on their bandwagon instead of giving them the tools necessary for them to make the proper analysis that they need to make to guide their action. Mm-hmm. So it's important for me to identify with Africa, not only because I know the history of slavery, it's a real thing. And see, a lot of people, they're embarrassed by slavery because I said they have a Western culture, it's about ego and all of that. So like, you know, even people will say things like, we weren't slaves, we were enslaved. What the hell? An enslaved person is enslaved. We were serving. It was servitude, right. Forced servitude. There was people had our children on fucking leashes, treating them like dogs, or putting them in boiling pots of hot water, or using them as kickstands, bed winches. That's a fucking slave. And people try to make it pretty because our egos, well, not mine, but a lot of people's egos are so big that to be African or to identify with slavery is beneath them. And so they can't get to the meat of the bone. You know what I'm saying? They can't get to the meat of what needs to be done. So that's why you continue to have those constant arguments about what is and what ain't, and it's a never-ending cycle.
Have you heard about Cujo Lewis?
What's that?
Have you heard of a brother named Cujo Lewis?
I can't say that I have.
Well, he was one of the survivors on the slave ships. And thanks to my brother Bakari. Yeah, Brother Bakari has schooled me on that. And Brother Bakari actually, which he gonna come on live later. He's going to explain that he know one of the descendants of the people that still, his descendants are still living today. But he was one of the people who was the survivors from the Atlantic slave ship. So when you had said that when you said that the slavery was real, it was definitely real. And if you get a chance, just look up Cujo Lewis and they explained to him he was one of the survivors. It was very, very interesting.
And the most important and viable reason why we must identify as African people, like I said, it's a socio-political question. I don't understand how we want to exactly, Erica, exactly, like for real.
That's my girl. That's my girl.
It's all about perception, you know what I'm saying, already. Mm-hmm. And we have to understand that Africa is a big continent full and vast in resources. Gold, diamonds, oil,
yes,
copper, rubber, timber, coltan, cobalt, anything you can actually think of that's necessary for humanity, not a society, not a nation, not a community, but humanity to survive comes from Africa.
And the funny thing, I didn't mean to cut you off, sister, but I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to say this because Brother Bakari made a good point. You know, our ancestors already led the blueprint. They named a town called Africa Town in Alabama. Then they have a little Africa in, I believe, in North Carolina. So our ancestors already let you know where they came from. So for black folks to say, "Oh, we're not African, we was Native Americans, and we the original Native Americans." But even if that's so, when I asked one time, I asked this one brother, what does indigenous mean? Indigenous mean the first. We came on this land first. That doesn't mean we originated from this land. And when I was battling with the Moor sister, I even showed how the pyramids in Mexico, they only stopped there. They didn't go further north because it gets colder. And we are tropical people. You see what I'm saying? So even the most scholars from Mexico would tell you, no, we didn't build that. That's Africans. They the one who came here first. So the evidence is there. I just wanted to throw that in there because our ancestors already led the blueprint. You know.
Let me tell you something. Like this man right here. That's my great grandfather. That's my great grandfather. Now, I don't know what he is, right?
Right.
I don't even know his name. Not to say that I don't want to know his name, but I just don't know. I don't know what he is. But when I look in the mirror, I know what this is, right? This comes with all kinds of different aspects that I got to struggle with on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
It's a dynamic. It's not just an external dynamic, but it's an internal dynamic that's solely related to being an African person. It's important for us to grasp that and stand firm in it. And we take 10 steps backwards when we don't, each and every time. And when I was saying about the social political question, with all the resources in Africa, there's so much that needs to be done. We have wealth. We must work to liberate Africa. But it's identifying with it first that gets us to that point. Mm-hmm. So it's a question of identity primarily to say how this relates to me. Because trust me, we're not going to be able to solve our problems without it.
Yes, that's right. You're right. That's facts. That's facts. I want to ask you another question. On Black businesses, right? Brother Bakari had did an excellent program earlier promoting Black business, and I know you're an advocate on Black businesses. And I've seen the stuff that you know as far as selling foods and I know you was promoting peach cobblers and stuff like that. I'm not sure, but I know you're an advocate of promoting. And I think I saw a video where like you put your jewelry and stuff like that. What is your thoughts on Black businesses and what is your strategy? How do you go about promoting Black businesses? Because I know you're an advocate on Black businesses and stuff. How do you what do you promote and how do you promote Black businesses and stuff?
I wouldn't necessarily say, and I do respect what you're saying. I don't necessarily say that I'm an advocate for promoting Black businesses, but I'm an advocate for promoting what's good. And fortunately, I run across a lot of good Black businesses. So I advocate what I think is good. I believe in economic empowerment, absolutely.
Definitely.
Me, myself, I was a Black business owner. I had an art gallery for 3 years in a very respectable, well-known district of Dallas. Today is being gentrified, and it's like upscale-ish type environment. A lot of European people do business there when the community, which is the same community that I grew up in, was predominantly Mexican people. I grew up in a Mexican reality. Like all my homies was vatos and essays. Bitty bitty bumba. That was my thing, right? And I loved every bit of it. So we had taquerias everywhere, fiestas, el ranchero, everything that was Mexican. Oh my God. And I know the neighborhood was run by the cartel. I mean, I actually literally seen an underground in the Kingstonetta shop one day by going to try to find a prom dress. I seen what I knew was a tunnel. I knew it was a tunnel. But that's just how Mexican it was. And I loved it. But I opened up an art gallery in this area because my friend, he had a bakery there. He was a Mexican guy that had a bakery, and he had an extra space, and it was beautiful. And I stayed there for about 3 years, and I was the only Black business in that strip. In the 3 years, that's when it started changing. And all of my Latino neighbors, they supported my business. Very, very beautiful. And it meant everything to me. But it changed. The neighborhood changed, and that's not why I left. I left because I suffered a bad injury and I couldn't keep the space any longer. I tore my ACL and I couldn't walk for like a year. So anyway, I left, and that's all gentrified now. But I just know how important it is for people to support you. I just give that story. And my supporters was all Mexican people, majority. Like I sold art. So I would have art showings, and I may sell a picture for $1,000 to a city council member and don't sell nothing for the rest of the month but little trinkets and stuff. So it was like that. But it was a lovely experience. And I just love having people support me. But when I first started talking to you, I mentioned Pan-African Connection. Pan-African Connection, what Ben Daly brung, our motto is the shortest trip to Africa without getting on a plane. He brought the whole continent. He brought that whole reality, and it made me who I am today. When I talk, you are hearing Ben Daly talk. I'm me, but I'm Ben Daly. Like, I wish that you could have met him. But Pan-African Connection, they open it. Oh, they do so much. They have like black markets. Well, they don't call it black markets, but they have it's called Ubuntu. But they have these markets on every other Sunday, where people can come out and bring all of whatever you sell, like you sell earrings or food or whatever. Just bring it out to Ubuntu as a place of business, because they support other black businesses. They give the space because it's that necessary for Pan-African unity. We want to support African people in their businesses so that they can make money, so that they can free themselves from the servitude of capitalism.
Right.
This is why it's important. Now, there are those individuals who make their money to serve capital interests, but you make that distinction on your own. Oh, who is and who ain't. Some people may just want to go buy a Gucci bag, whatever. You can't say, oh, well, I'm not gonna support this black business because they just about this or they just about that, or they not about this or that. You can do that, but you don't know what at the end of the day what people do with their money. Like I can go support a black business, but somebody may be stealing the money out of their pocket and going to buy crack with it. We don't know where these dollars are going.
Right.
It's a question of doing everything we can do to heighten the state of African people in America financially so that we can have more to work with. For me, a big thing that's important is for those people to be able to employ other people, provide jobs.
That's right.
That's the thing that's really big for me.
That's same here.
Right. I'm always trying to find a way to make an extra dollar so that I can give somebody else something, like for instance, I work 2 jobs. I don't have to, but I desire to. In the daytime, I'm a pharmacy technician. And at nighttime, like tonight, I got to go to work and I got to go directly to the pharmacy after that. At nighttime, I work in a warehouse. I work in a warehouse with newspapers. Okay. And I don't have to use my brain for this job. This is why I can do it, right? Because all I'm doing is I take stacks of coupons from these capitalist companies like Walmart, Big Lots, you name it, Tum Tum, Albertsons, you name it. You know the coupons and stuff you see in the newspaper when you open up your Sunday's paper? Right. All I'm doing is taking stacks of paper, putting them on a machine. Boom, 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 boom. I don't even have to think.
Right.
I've been thinking about so much other stuff, and it's very relaxing to me. Now, this machine is a instrument of capitalism. I'm actually serving capitalist interest. But at the same time, I create a reality for myself where I have enough money, more than enough money, to handle my capitalist needs, like rent, whatever, you name it. You know that list, bills.
Right. Yeah.
But I put myself in a situation where I have extra money and I have a publication. I have a book publication because I work with men and women in prison. And I can pay people to type up documents for me or to do certain things that I need to be done for my political work. Instead of me, I was asking somebody, can you volunteer? I put myself in a position where I can actually pay somebody to do something. Because a lot of times people can't volunteer because they need to go make money. So a lot of our political activity and stuff that we need, things that we need done, we can pay people to do it. So that's my main thing about Black businesses that I like is their ability to grow big and create jobs. Like if you're selling soap that you're making or incense or oils or whatever it may be. If I promote you and buy your stuff, then more people find out about you, then the more your business grows.
Mm-hmm.
And the more your business grows, then your supply outweighs, your demand outweighs your supply. Not to say you don't have the money to get the materials or do whatever, but you don't have the manpower. So now you got to go hire somebody because you're doing so excellent.
Exactly.
Now you did not grow that, and now you got a whole big industry. But hopefully,
almost like a franchise.
Right. But hopefully your ideas are Pan-Africanist ideas. Because if they're Pan-Africanist ideas, then your franchise won't just go for you to go buy your Maserati or this or that. They will be towards liberating African people. So now you got enough money to go and buy some land in Africa. Now you got a whole zone that's rich in timberwood or whatever resource. Now
that's right.
You move it in a shaker. Now you can do certain things there. And now we're doing importing and export. So the picture of supporting Black business is a much more broader picture for me because I'm a scientific socialist. So I have to break down every little component and how the dynamic works. It's not just supporting a Black business just because, but the overall dynamic of it for me is to be able to create resources for the people. If it serves their interests,
right,
I'll forward. And that's what I look for. But it's not always that. Sometimes somebody just got something I need. And I'd rather buy it from you than to buy it from them.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's very important. You gotta, and again, that's we have to provide. Okay, I'm sorry. We have to provide for our people, make it convenient for our people as well. So, and yeah, you're everything that you say was on point. I agree with you. As far as so just don't support just to support it. You just have to support it. Like, what is your goal of supporting a business? And so our children coming out of college, they don't have to go to a white people's company. They can come back home and get a job there, get a job right at home. They don't, we can provide that. And I think that's so important. We don't want our children to beg our enemy for work. They should already have jobs already set up, because eventually we want to pass on those businesses to our children. You know what I mean? And that's how you keep the legacy and the company growing and from there.
Right. Absolutely.
I want to ask you another question about, because I know you do a lot of storytelling, right?
Yes.
And I thought that was very interesting, because I remember I did the origin on Christmas, right? The origin on Christmas. And peace to Cool Cutter. How you doing, Cool Cutter? I'm sorry. I'm just read some of what he said. He said someone crib barely here. Okay. I did the origin on Christmas, and I did the story about the relationship between Osiris and Isis, right? And how Osiris was the original deity who was resurrected, right? And then and he was saying how the story was like how the brother had killed him, and he took all his body parts and spread all throughout Egypt, and how Isis was so messed up where she went out and collected all his body parts to put them back together, and so she could have a child, and they had a child called Haru. And I thought that was a beautiful Black love story. And I know as I listen to you and you tell all these stories, these African stories, tell the people what inspired you to do to talk about these beautiful African stories and everything. Like, because we don't hear much of that. We don't hear much of these. Most of our people, we don't teach our kids about these these African stories, in which brings some moral to our race. You know what I mean? Go
Well,
ahead. I know you. I'm just trying to
well, you said
see
the
what
key
you.
word.
I'm definitely. Yeah, go ahead. I'll tell the people about what inspired you of doing these African stories.
Well, you said the key word. You said they bring moral. When dealing with Pan-Africanism, you can't just call yourself a Pan-Africanist.
Mm-hmm.
Pan-African is a person who worked towards the total liberation and unification of Africa and African people under scientific socialist government. That is not an easy task. It's very, very difficult. And the main reason why it is difficult is because it's a struggle of ideas. It's the struggle of those things that we just talked about. Well, we're dealing with an indoctrinated society. It's everywhere around us. Capitalism and its imperialist forces are so powerful that it has a tight grip. And one of the ways that it keeps its tight grip is by having us demoralize ourselves, making sure that we don't have the tools necessary to understand truth, order, harmony, justice, reciprocity, values, principles, and morals. Because if we have those things are our guiding forces to how we move in relation to one another. So, in a socialist society, you can't have a pimp and a hoe. That dynamic wouldn't exist. There wouldn't be prostitutes. There's a social order that comes about being based off of the dynamic of the whole person and how they treat one another. You have to definitely have the utmost type of discipline, loyalty. You know what I'm saying? We possess what we call ideology. Like in our organization, we send people through ideological training. You have to go through, and I actually have a meeting right after this at 6:30 where we do ideological training every Sunday night. So we send people through ideological training so they can grasp what it means to be a Pan-Africanist. And Nkrumah said, Africa needs a new type of citizen, a man and a woman who is free from the servitude of wealth. That's what capitalism is. It's all about wealth and acquiring of wealth for the means of self-interest. Exactly. And so it makes people dog other people out. It makes people shit on other people. It makes people steal from each other. It doesn't have any type of moral compass. So when I look for my responsibility, when I look for ways that I can serve my responsibility to the African people, I try to meet them where they at. And when you get into the when you get into the terminologies of the isms and this and that, you kind of, you lose people. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you got to start from a base of just logical thinking and understanding, something that grips a person's heart. It may be something that they're going through in the moments. And most of those stories that I tell is stuff that I'm going through in the moment. I suffered great trauma these past 3 years. I'm going through a traumatic situation. Like, it's a long story, but to make the long story short, I was a victim of domestic violence. I think that domestic violence is a pretty word, but basically a nigga was beating my ass, without the sugar, So I'm still going through that trauma recovery, right? But so so when you go through a traumatic experience, you start to question, well, not just question, but understand morality and all of the things that makes a person do what they do or who you are. You want to understand the dynamics of the human nature or what could compromise what you think a person. You want to have a total understanding. And I like to break stuff down. So the African stories for me have been therapeutic because they always bring me back to my center of my morality or my principles and my values. Everything you see in Africa has a story.
That's right. That's right.
From the stool to a staff to a pan to a spoon to a fork to a comb. Like, there's art in everything. My favorite is the Adinkra symbols. You see it in all the craft, the cloth, and it's everywhere, like everywhere.
Right,
and,
that's right.
Oh, it's so amazing. It just give me chills. And I love the Adinkra symbols. So there are so many of them, and they all have a story. And see, with the Adinkra symbols, right? Excuse me. I get so excited, my throat get dry. I'm for real. Like, I just get so excited when I talk about Africa. So, like with the Adinkra symbols, like we know a few, but there's like, I think there's like over 700-800 of them. And then, like, we used to have these like miniature statues in Pan-African Connection that was made of bronze. And we had like thousands of them. They all had different poses, but they all had a story. In these stories, see, so when the European came, right, they took away our relation to Africa. Like, one instance, they didn't want us to have the drum. Everybody knows this story. They didn't want us to have the drum. So that cut us off from communicating with one another. They didn't want us to speak our native tongue. That cut us off from communicating with each other. But a lot of our stories are not written down in tablets or scrolls or whatever. You will see it in the art. Our history is mainly written in the art of Africa. And with that, also oral traditions, storytelling. That's why the griot is so important. The griot was so important because they help to develop the man into a man and the woman into a woman by showing them rites of passages through stories and moral. They gave them a moral compass that was just so great. My family, I got a fucked up family. You know why? Oh wow! She said it's still illegal to play the drums on the streets in the U.S. that's
That's
sad.
crazy. That
Wow!
is.
Oh wow! I didn't even know that.
That's crazy.
I got a fucked up family, right? Not all of my family, but a vast majority. I have about 13 family members that I do not fuck with. I have a whole list of them.
Mm.
And the reason why I don't fuck with them, because they are immoral people. They don't have no morals. But they
Mm-hmm.
Christians. They Christians, but they lack
Same here.
morality.
Same here.
They lack morality. I mean, like the simplest form. They don't understand loyalty. They are really pigs. They are the product of what capitalism produced.
Mm-hmm.
They are truly the product. And it saddens me. It saddens me. But I can only be an example to the world of what you're supposed to be. And
Right.
I can share what I know, but I don't like to twist people's arms to know the difference between right and wrong, especially not no adults. I don't want to twist nobody's arm to convince them this is right, this is wrong. So I like to tell my stories. I like to tell my African stories because they have moral values in them that you can take, and it's quite entertaining because people like to be entertained. I love to be entertained, and I love a good story. So when I hear the stories, like they just move me so much, and that's why I tell my stories, because I wanted to move somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell y'all something too, and I really appreciate you, guy. You promoted me on the channel. It ain't really nothing there for nobody to see. It ain't. It's just me doing a little bit of this or that. But we have a school called George Jackson University. I don't know if it's under George Jackson University or what, but it ain't nothing there spectacular. So I don't want your viewers to be disappointed, because the content that I'm sharing with you here, you're not gonna find it on a channel. It's just that I created a channel or two just to upload some videos. So I don't want them to be disappointed. So that's my disclaimer.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But thank you so much for sharing it.
Mm-hmm. So what is your thoughts on DNA?
On DNA?
Yeah. When people want to find, yeah, they find it when people want to go out there and find where they came from in Africa. Like, what is your thoughts? Because I know Chadwick, what's his name? Chadwick, who did Black Panther, he was big on that. You know, he was on the Breakfast Club and he talked about that. Give me 1 second. I got my brother Bakari. Peace to brother Bakari. How you doing, brother? But I just want to know, what is your thoughts on, DNA? Because I know I did my DNA, and my mother's side is from Sierra Leone, and my father's side is from Angola, and I'm from the same tribe as Queen Azinga. So, like, what is your thoughts on people getting their DNA? And I know that's a big thing now.
Wow, that's a very good question. Like, you will not believe how important your question is, because I got out from work this morning. I went to sleep. I set my phone for 3:00 to be in this meeting with you all. And when I woke up at 3:00, the first message in my inbox was a friend of mine, had sent me their DNA results. So that just happened prior to me having this thing here with you. So I just find it interesting. And they sent me their DNA results, and I'm like, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. That's pretty interesting. I have always been one of those people who was like against it or thought that it was a waste of time because I'm a stickler for real African period. I'm not for the micronationalism, the Ghana, the Senegal, all of that. I'm against micronationalism. So I always been against it because I always wanted to instill the idea that we are African, period.
Right. We're claiming a whole continent.
Yeah, that's important. And in my study group that I'm going into right after this meeting, we're the group that we're studying with, we're studying The World in Africa by W.B. Du Bois, where he breaks down the people in Africa. He shows like the migration, and he really makes a clear analysis of how Africa civilizations came about and so forth. So, but here lately, I've been having such a wonderful time sharing the discovery of my resemblance to this actress by the name of Madge Sinclair. And she is an actress known for being the mother of Eddie Murphy in Coming to America. And it's just been really amazing to see what resemblance that I have there. And I love it. And so I've been actually interested in finding out what particularly in Africa did I come from? Just on that basis. It's just a fun thing for me to do. So I've actually considered that. So I'm not against it. I just like to have fun. As far as like giving somebody your DNA and all of those type of questions, they already have all of that. I done had you know what I'm saying? They know everything about me anyway. So I don't have any fear or anything in the area of science and medicine or it being used for this or that, or I don't know. I've heard different types of talks, but I think it would be a fun experience for me to try. Now, I'm not just moved by it. It depends on how much it costs first. I don't know because I don't have a budget, and it's one that I can live with. It's not in my budget. But yeah, so I don't think too much about it. But I think it's I love science, biology, all of that. So I don't know.
Definitely.
That's my take on it.
That's what's up. Well, I got my brother on here, Brother Bakari. How you doing, brother? Introduce yourself. I got another.
Excuse me. Peace, my good brother. Peace, sister. Say that again. What she say? She can't see me.
No, she can't hear me.
If we were supposed to see you or your screen, is it?
Yeah, we can't see you, Brother Bakari.
Oh, you can't see me.
We can't.
Even if I go back, I would have to go back and
I don't know.
I would have to.
Background. I don't
you know what? This is what I do, so you can see me, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave the studio and come back. All right.
Okay.
That's what I'm gonna do. And that's the only way I can set it where you can see me.
Okay.
All right.
I got my sister Omega Courtney. How you doing, sister?
Oh my.
Introduce yourself, Courtney. I don't know if she can. I can't hear you if you're trying to speak. I don't know. I can't hear my sister. She's Courtney, are you there? Okay, I guess they're gonna come back on. Got something, maybe they having some technical difficulties. So,
you've been doing this for quite some time, huh?
yeah, it's so funny because she said her mic. She said her mic was cut off. Okay, just whenever you get that situation, just come back on in. Yeah, it's so funny. I haven't been doing YouTube videos for like 10 years. I just started back around like 2017 to 18. So I did some throwbacks. I don't know if you have seen them, but some YouTube videos 11 years ago with some college buddies, and I just re-upload them. And so far, people like them. People, but I have changed over the years. I've been more, I used to be a Christian. You couldn't tell me about Jesus. Now that I knew the truth behind that stuff, I'm now got into comedic science. So I've just been more into my history. That's why I think when I saw you, I was more in tune because I figured I definitely knew we was on the same page, and I've been following you for quite some time. So
we've been friends for a long time.
Huh?
We've been friends for a long time.
Yeah. I enjoy your videos and stuff, and a lot of stuff that you said. I was like, wow, yo. So I just definitely had to get you on board. I'm just waiting for these. Okay, she said she'll try again. Okay. This is Brother Bakari. Okay, he's back on. Okay, let's see my brother. Okay, there you go, my brother. All right, so Brother Bakari, introduce yourself and answer whatever questions you want, my brother. Go ahead.
It's Brother Bakari. Nice to meet you, sister.
Hey.
Thanks, Brother Guy, for having me on. Peace to everybody in the chat. By the way, I just subscribed to your channel. I just went and subscribed to your channel.
I don't even know what's up there, I swear.
Say that again.
I said I don't even know what's up there, I swear.
Oh, so you don't really do shows there anymore? Okay. Well, I heard you talking about capitalism and socialists, right? So one of the things I want to say with the society in which we're living in now, something I believe, and I just want to know what you think about this. I say we have to become capitalists with a socialist mindset, because with you living inside of a capitalistic society, you have to learn the ways of capitalism. You have to learn how to do it while having a socialist mindset. You use capital to share with your people. And I was just wondering, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I quite some time. Like I said, I'm very transparent. Like tonight, I'm going to go work for a mad capitalist machine, and I don't even have to. I'm going to go and give my labor 8 hours to a multi-million-dollar industry tonight, but I don't have to. But I'm choosing to because I'm using that vehicle because my options are very slim. I have options, but it's easier for me to do it this way because what I'm doing is I'm applying my socialist mindset to my overall objective and outcome with that money that I'm making. When I go to this job tonight, I don't have to think. What I normally do is I think about socialism. All I'm doing is taking papers and putting them on a belt. Boom, boom, boom. That's it. But I'm awake for 8 hours. And I think about all of my goals, all of my dreams, all of my aspirations. I'm plotting and planning and strategizing at that moment about my social objective. Now, capitalism must be destroyed in order for socialism to exist. But we're in a situation where we are a powerless people. We're so powerless like it's ridiculous. And our options are very slim because of it. Because we have to get people to understand that that particular mode of production, like they don't exist without us. But we have to get the masses to grasp this concept in order so we could snatch it out. We could snatch it out of their hands. A lot of I refer to the wealth and resources of Africa. The socialist mindset will not just be a mindset, but we need to be a mind with thought and action together. We must say that, damn, all of these neo-colonialist puppets in Africa, we're going to take y'all off of y'all pedestals, cut y'all heads off, organize ourselves to take the wealth and resources of the coltan, stop selling it to Apple and Microsoft and whoever the fuck else. Take these resources, and if we're gonna sell it, we sell it at our price. We sell it how we need to get to that point. But it's so hard to get to that point because people aren't thinking in action and thoughts, and they're not moving like that. They're not dissecting and maneuvering in a way of the overall objective of Pan-Africanism. People are doing what they are comfortable with. People are doing what they're comfortable with. And so because it is so slow of a process, then we have to maneuver in the ways that we can. So like I have a blueprint for setting up like you had mentioned, the African town and what the brother did in Mobile, Alabama, right? I have a blueprint for that. It's called a New African Ujamaa, where it's a whole nation inside of America. I'm a Pan-Africanist, but I'm also a member and a citizen of the Republic of New Africa. The Republic of New Africa it's a provisional government that believes that we should have a certain sector of the South as land, as a form of reparations. And with this land, we'll build on this land. We'll build and liberate this land, and we will build homes. We will build townships. We will have our own banks and all of that we was discussing earlier. So I'm for anything that's for the forward movement of African people, whether it's minimal or whether it's vast. And financially, we are in a dire situation. We don't have any political power because we don't have any economic power. So capitalism is a system that exists. Socialism at the level I'm talking about is very far reachable. I'm a realist. It's far reachable. I said I've been doing it for 26 years, so I did it enough to know how far reachable it is. But it's something that I see as the only solution. And absolutely, I agree. We must utilize the mechanisms of capitalism how we see fit to fulfill whatever objectives we need to. Not to become a capitalist, but use the means of acquiring capital, as you stated. I agree.
Oh, okay. Now I just heard you. We're okay. Okay, you said you're a citizen of the Republic of New Africa. The capital of the Republic of New Africa. That's Jackson, Mississippi, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm just wondering. I just wanted to make sure I knew that. But you were saying use capital, right? And the things that we have to do, and you say you support what's good. So I just want to ask, when my brother Guy Nollywood Jr. asked you about supporting Black business, see, that's the capital. That's our capital if we support one another. You say you support what's good, and I understand that. But would you consider Black businesses as good? I'm just asking.
Well, it's like a lot of times I can't measure. See, I'm a minimalist. So I don't spend a lot of money anyway because most of my funds go towards my extra funds will go towards my political objectives. So I'm a minimalist. So like if I had like this bottle of water, I bought this bottle of water conveniently because it's conveniently sold at Walmart or one of those big major corporations, those capitals wheels of production, right? But if a black business was closer to me than Walmart, where I can get a quantity of bottle of waters, then I'm gonna do it. But it's not readily available to me in this manner. So my instinct takes me to Walmart versus me ordering from somebody who bottles maybe in DC and go through all that. So it's about supply, right? So when it comes to black businesses, I don't know many black businesses that's based off of necessity. Most black businesses that I know, they have like jewelry or incense or oils or clothes or hair wraps or arts and stuff that I love, 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 love. And when I have the extra funds and resources to get it, boom, I get it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I love to be able to work this extra job so I can have that to do that with if I so desire. Like my friend sold me some smoothie juices. I had a little extra money and I on the regular time, if I didn't have no money, I would just be drinking water. But I had a little extra, so I bought some little smoothie drinks from her, and they were like $8 a pop. That's a luxury for me. That's an extreme luxury. So a lot of times, a lot of these businesses aren't just based off of need, but I don't have it like that. But I supporting those that got those when you got it like that. Absolutely. Look for that. Look and home in on that. Now, I want people to understand, however, that supporting black businesses isn't a final solution. You understand? It's a means to an end. It's a means towards the end. So, like you said, having a socialist mindset. Do that black business have a socialist mindset, or is this man out here making this shea butter incense oil so he can get some money to go buy some pussy? We don't know those things. we don't know. But our efforts are genuine. But who has time to go and dig in somebody's backyard to find out if he's trying to buy some pussy? Nobody. But our effort is to support black businesses because that's our moral compass to uplift people of African descent. Absolutely.
Okay, I understand. Well, you do know going out there with the woman, that's the oldest profession. I'm just clowning.
Say that again.
I say that's the oldest profession in the world, so you know they're going to do that. But I said it jokingly. That's a joke. I'm sorry. But you know what? When you said we could learn from other people, I absolutely agree with that. And when you mentioned Vietnam, do you know when the Vietnam beat America? Do you know one of the ways that they were able to defeat America? The person who was in charge of Vietnam, take a guess who he studied. He studied Marcus Garvey. He was known to study. Yes, if you look him up, what's his name again? Look him up.
Ho Chi Minh.
Do the Ho Chi Minh Garvey connection, whatever. He was known to study Marcus. He used to ask, could he come to some UNIA when Marcus Garvey did lectures? And he said after seeing Marcus Garvey being able to galvanize 2 million people in America, that's how he learned to galvanize his people. So now my thing is, if other people can take from what our great ancestors did, why is it so hard for us to look and say we can use some of the same platform? Some of Garvey may be outdated, but I consider Garvey a prophet, right? But the blueprint was put there. Why do you think it's so hard for us to follow the blueprint?
Good question.
You're right. You're right. Everything you said was right on point, and I'm familiar about the history that you speak of between Garvey and Ho Chi Minh. Excellent point. Excellent point. Boy, you know Garvey, woo, that's like my super duper father. Like, you know, man, let me tell you. So, to galvanize that many people the way that he did is a major task. I think that Garvey was able to do what he did primarily, right, Omega? Primarily because he was not doing it alone. So we want to be clear that Marcus Garvey was a great man, but he had some great people that worked alongside him. And of course, it's evident because it was a nation of people. Garvey understood that very thing we've been talking about, economic power. They created factories, industries of operation to fund that work that they did. When they were able to do that, I think that was able to fuel them. Like they had headquarters and bases and factories. They had a newspaper publication that was able to reach hundreds of thousands of people. What the key factor is, because we can do all of those things. We can do all of those things just like that. But the key factor is this. I think that they were serious, and a lot of people just playing around now. And I think that's just the basic element. They have the same resources they have.
You're breaking up.
For the people just playing around with it. They didn't have time to play. See, when you have certain type of conditions, you're in your environment, government dictate how you come with capitalism. It is a lot of people are okay with knowing that millions of people get killed by going into the diamond mines digging for coal and cobalt and all that. People are comfortable with that. You know what I'm saying? People are okay with the injustices as long as it's not happening to them. But I think it's a different time where they didn't have that luxury. They didn't have that luxury. And one of the things that I primarily seen that happened like with the year 2020 was it was all orchestrated. This whole movement with the quarantining and the COVID is an instrument to get us even more comfortable with that so that we don't engage with one another. We engage in a box. I seen this reality a long time ago when I was a kid that we would come to this present day time. I just think I can't believe that I'm alive to actually see it. Like I saw the future, but I didn't see myself in it. I thought it was gonna be like light years out. But this reality was designed for us to just be online. All of it was designed for us to become separated from one another in this type of dynamic. And what Garvey and them did, they had a different reality. And their reality was also by design. It's just totally different from ours. We are like puppets on a string right now. I never seen nothing like this before. I really feel like this is a puppet master show. and people are comfortable and cool with it. And the more comfortable and cool people be with it, the more it becomes the norm. And the more it becomes the norm, the harder it'll get for people like you and I to organize. There was a concept of land. We have to understand that land is the basis of everything. We must grasp this concept. Garvey and them understood that. So they acquire land. Once you acquire land, you can create a world of power and wealth. And I simply think that was a tool. And Garvey also, thank you, Omega. Now, Garvey also had some bad sisters, his wives.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That was cold.
Oh,
yeah. And you talking about dedicate your life. Dedicate your life. I'm gonna be transparent. I don't do, like I got 10 figures. I don't do this much of my little pinky right here of all my 10 fingers that those sisters did. And I do a lot. I really can't say I don't know how they did it. But I think that the main thing was discipline. They was disciplined in their efforts. And that's what we are missing as a collective. The discipline that they had, Bakari. So I hope that I was able to answer your question. I think that's the key thing.
Yeah, you did. But you know what? I agree. We absolutely lack discipline. We lack, when they talk to people, especially when you go to talking about, especially if you talk about physically fighting back. The first thing come out of a lot of ended up, and I'm gonna be honest, it kind of bothers me that come out of black men's mouth is we can't win because we outnumbered. They'll slaughter us. But Dr. Amos Wilson, we're not outnumbered. We're out organized. And that's our biggest problem. We are out organized. And the organizers, see, when you mentioned the Garvey wife, I see a lot of movements today, a lot of people today on these social media, and they want to get the women out of the way. Mm-hmm. And you find some women that want to get men out the way. But the women are the organizers. And seeing that one thing about Garvey, His Excellency, the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, he understood that. And his first wife was Amy Jock Garvey in Jamaica. His next wife was Amy Ashwood Garvey when he came to the States. He understood that. And they were with him all the way. Marcus Garvey did not organize the Black Cross nurses by himself. He did not organize the UNIA by himself. But one thing that you said, and what do you think about this, right? Then obviously you were able to galvanize that many people. Obviously, there were not a power struggle amongst men. And today, when we want to do something, egos get in the way, and you get that power struggle amongst black men. You stupid cutter. So what do you think about that?
Oh, you're absolutely right. I mean, I've been an organizer on many fronts for many years in my life. And the roles, hey Omega, and the roles that I have played have been those roles of leadership. And even as a woman, I have come up against those contradictory forces of man versus woman, or another individual pitting themselves against me because of that ego, self-interest, I have undergone challenges of acts of sabotage of all sorts.
Mm.
I've been compromised in quite a few ways as a woman. And I've also seen it happen amongst men. And again, I think that it comes from the deep psychological nature of capitalism that is constantly around us. Individualism. We, as a people, as human beings, we want to be loved. We want to be respected. We want to be revered. We want to be remembered. We want to be upheld. We want to be lifted. We want to feel good. It's a natural thing. Unfortunately, a lot of people gratify themselves for those things by making themselves superior to another human being. It's a backwards way of living. It's a backwards way of doing things. The superiority complex doesn't only come from the white man, but it's an internal dynamic that people subconsciously battle with. And some people consciously just don't give a fuck and they move like that. They want to be better because they just want naturally to feel love. And it's so hard to get true and genuine love the way it's supposed to be that people try to find a way to manipulate it. So that's why you want to be the most popular, or you can't take orders from nobody because your ego is in the way. You can't have no woman tell you what to do because your ego is in the way, because you feel inferior. But you shouldn't feel inferior when you understand that we are moving in a loving manner. And that's where the science of socialism comes into play. We have to truly understand the dynamics of socialism. Socialism is not only about an economic plight, but it's about a internal dynamic that starts in your home. You know what I'm saying? It can just be with a stranger. When we out in the world, we have to maneuver where we stay in our lane to not disrespect anybody, because we don't want nobody disrespecting us. It's a natural order. So a lot of times people egos are just so tripped up in these organizations. They don't want to feel less than. So to be corrected on something is not going to be dealt with properly because they ego in a way too much that they ain't going to deal with it. So that's why in our organization, and through our ideological training, we make sure people understand criticism and self-criticism. And we give people tools of analysis to truly understand how to dissect those criticisms and self-criticism, because we must give it. We must give them to them. And they must give it to us. Now, I'm not saying that it always go perfect. I'm not saying there don't be shouting matches, and we even had people jump across tables. I mean, a lot of stuff. But what it does is it gives us the ability to deal with any contradictions, to understand contradictions, and to be able to measure why they exist and how to combat them. A lot of people won't do that because of their ego, and that's the problem. And this type of behavior is problematic. It's one of the major problems as to why we can't achieve a particular plight. It's even a lot of different groups I've come to accept the fact that we need a unified African front. That's the only way.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so hard to do that because everybody want to be the fucking leader. Even if they ain't even got the answers. They just want to be the leader. And that's why it's taking so much financial effort to pop stuff off, because people don't have the collective mindset to work together truly on the unified front. So we got to make shit happen on the side, on our own, to try to, you know what I'm saying? Okay, everybody now trying to find a way. Okay, let me get my money up so I can buy this land over here. Let me get my money up so I can do this over there, grow my fruits and vegetables over here. Let me get my money up over here. That's how we doing it now. Because we not left, we really don't, we left with that. Because we don't really truly know how to scientifically support our movement.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't because it's so many ego.
Okay, so I have one more thing, and I guess I'm gonna yield the mic, Pastor Courtney Gavin. Say this. You said something that was very important, and I like the way you said it. You said something about superiority just don't belong. White people not the only ones that think they're superior, like white superiority, right? One of the things I tell people, this is just me, we have to stop worrying about how other people feel. I know that we talk about white supremacy, and that's a term I don't use really, and white privilege. I always say, forget about what other people say or think about you. We have to stop worrying about that. We have to do what we can do. Do you think now? Because I do. I'm going to let you know I do. The question I'm going to ask: do you think that sometimes Black people complain about white supremacy because they complain about it so much because a lot of them that doing white supremacy teaching, do you think it's because they have an inferiority complex when it comes to white people? Now, me personally, I think that's why white supremacy teaching is done so much on a consistent basis. I really do believe that's why some people, every other word come out of their mouth is white supremacy, white supremacy, white supremacy. Because I believe subconsciously they have an inferiority complex to white people.
You know, that's a good question. You have great questions too. Maybe I need to work on my channel because it's like I said, it's a lot to talk about. I'm really happy that I get a chance to have these discussions like this because they do need to be addressed. But a lot of times they become frustrated because I see this behavior that you talk about, and it just becomes annoying because I know the basis of where it comes from, and it's like an escapism. First, I I believe in studying science again, and that's why I like socialism. We utilize dialectics, dialectical materialism to understand a thing. Language is very important. When I was organizing 26 years ago up until date, that term white supremacy, I had never heard of it. We identify what it is. We have to have a clear understanding of who and what our enemy is. So we never use the term white supremacy. This is a new thing. This term started to come about when social media became rampant. Uh, I don't. in order, everything has an opposite in dialects. Everything has an opposite. What's the opposite of black?
White.
White.
Right. What's the opposite of man?
White.
The opposite of man, woman.
Right.
Yeah.
So if I say I'm a black woman, what would be my opposite?
The black man.
Black man.
No,
Black man.
no, you're not using dialectics. Let me
White
ask
man.
you.
The white woman.
Exactly.
Oh, I
So
see.
if I use dialectics, because everything has an opposite. If I say I'm a African woman, what will be my opposite?
The European woman, the white woman.
You're not using dialectics. If I say I'm an African woman, what's the opposite of an African woman?
African man.
Exactly. So if I say white supremacy, what would be the opposite?
Black inferiority. It should be black supremacy, but actually it's black inferiority.
You're
absolutely
correct. You're absolutely correct. And that was went over my head. And that's even worse. See, I was gonna say black supremacy, but you're right. You're absolutely right. So if I call myself a black person and I say there's white superiority, then the opposite, if that's the very thing I'm fighting against, then my nature would be the opposite of that. So I would say, well, I'm trying to be a black supremacy too. But you just defined something for me that I miss. That means that I really think that I'm inferior to this motherfucker, basically. And that's just what I see. It makes no logical sense to me. I identify capitalism and imperialism. It's important for us to identify how these things work. I don't see no white man that's superior to me. So I never ever use white supremacy. Like, what the fuck is that? But I don't know if people have made it a thing, that's their thing. But there's no dialectics in it. Now, to address it in your question, I just want to break that down because that's always been something that I try to make clear. But to address it, as far as people identifying with this thing called white supremacy, it makes no dialectical sense to me to call it. I don't know what it is, but this thing, white supremacy, to always point a finger at it, it's important for us to be able to identify who our enemy is. Very important. So if people identify as white supremacy, I know that they're talking about imperialism. I know they're talking about the few that control the wealth, but they're also dealing with a lower class of white people as well. They're dealing with the concept of racism as well. And that comes from anywhere. But you will understand, if you understand capitalism and imperialism, you understand the dynamics of racism and why it exists and so forth. It is a thing. It is a thing. It's a thing that says why we have prison slavery. It is a thing that says why we haven't received reparations. It is a thing that says why we're constantly dealing with and battling police terrorism. And Black people are still going through the same struggles and haven't advanced. It's a thing. My struggle is against the power structure. My struggle is against that very thing, to dismantle it. So I don't particularly say the white man is my enemy, because the white man is not my enemy. Capitalism and imperialism is my enemy, that is controlled by European people. All kinds of European people, French, German, Italian, they come in all different names, right? So you can call them white if you want to say white people. Whatever works for you. But scientifically, terminology is important to get a thorough understanding of things. So it's important for people to identify with it, and they call it white supremacy. I don't think that it's an escape to try to continue to blame something, because we do have to we do have to identify with who our enemy is. And that was your question. However, to not have any solutions to the problems that they present to us and not trying to find any, that's the real problem. And a lot of times people can't find it because they don't want to identify with Africa. So they stay stuck there because they like being stuck. Because when you're not stuck and your mind gives you a solution, then you're obligated to that solution. And once you're obligated to that solution, then your conscience not going to let you rest. And people don't want to go there. So a lot of time it is an escapism. But for the most part, I think it's important because people are hurt. And they identify with what they're hurt with. And they try to confront it. But it's just that they don't have a solution.
Mm. Well, I had Sister Courtney. I don't know where she at. I was gonna, what she would just say.
She just put some in the chat.
What she put? Thanks, family. Sorry to keep jumping out. Love this convo. Please give me my contact. The sister, I'm looking forward to all right. See, I'm just gonna put that up there. There was a question that she asked earlier. I'm just gonna post her question up earlier. Just give me. Oh, here we go.
That's so nice of you, Omega, Courtney. Guy, can you make sure we stay in contact?
Definitely, Courtney. You should come back on. I mean, you should come back on. You know, because I know you probably, you could just ask the question yourself. But this is the question she asks. Let me see if it comes on. I know my computer. Just give me 1 second.
I'm gonna grab another bottle of water. Y'all see, I'm having a real time over here.
I'm good. I'm just so happy that you joined us. I mean, we definitely gonna have more conversations in the future.
Yeah. Let me get some water real fast.
All right, go ahead. Take your time. Take your time. I'm trying to get her on. Something's wrong with there. Okay.
I see your question.
You see the question? Okay, come on. Okay.
I can answer her question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I hope Courtney can hear me. So, yeah, Courtney, I have been to Africa. Oh, so let me tell you about my first trip to Africa. So my first trip to Africa, I had never been before. And I actually had never been on a plane before. So my first time actually getting on a plane was to Africa, which was quite unique. So when I went to Africa, I only had a little flip phone, and it was like a prepaid phone, and I had probably about like I had $7. So I went to Kenya. Long story short, it was quite an experience with having to stay in New York, having to go through Europe, and doing all this was just $7. Eventually, along the way, I was able to have somebody send me some money, and it was probably a maximum of like $50, which was good enough for me because I was finally going to Africa. I always told myself, I said, this may sound pretty psychotic to y'all, but I said, if I don't make it to Africa by the time I'm 40, I'm just gonna kill myself. And I'm just so glad that I didn't have to kill myself because I made it, and it was long before I was 40. So I was so happy about that. So when I got to Africa with no money, no phone, I had a couple of officers in Kenya meet me. And it was like everybody knew of my arrival. And they just had everything that I needed. And it was the most pleasurable experience that I've ever experienced in my life. I was invited to Africa by the international organization, which is the All African People Revolutionary Party. Myself and Equate Tahimba, who is the wife of the late Bandeli Tahimba. We and Equate are so comrades in this organization. We lead our organization is the United States African Revolutionary Party, which I'm supposed to have a meeting with in 15 minutes, but they just rescheduled it. So I got time. Okay. She and I were invited for African Liberation Day in Kenya. And so the police escorted me to the front to where I was able to connect with them. And it was like the scene on you remember on Color Purple with Celie had connected with her kids.
Yeah.
It was like, but the only difference was at the airport there was so many people out there, right? And I didn't, like I said, they had no phone or nothing. And I was looking for them. But amongst all the sea of people, the people that was there to meet me, it seemed like they had on those colors. You know how the colors was from Celia Kids. They had
Yeah.
It just felt like that. Like they had all their colors just flying. This is like what I see in my head. So it was great. Long story short, the hospitality was wonderful. The air felt so crisp, so fresh. Everything was the food was good. I had the opportunity to speak in downtown Nairobi. In the town square, there's a statue of Jomo, not Jomo, but Didan Kamanthi. He was a revolutionary, rebellious fighter of the Mau people. Didan Kamanthi. And it stood right in the center of downtown Nairobi. And I had a chance to speak about African liberation on African Liberation Day in front of thousands of Kenyans. Wow. They were gathered around and they were listening to me speak. And then we marched all across downtown Nairobi. I'm sorry when I talk about this. Thank you so much. But all downtown Nairobi. Went to City Hall. I did another speech there and listened to other speakers. It was just wonderful. And I have a home there. I will always have a home there. Anywhere you go to Africa, you're going to have a home. Then I have a home in Tanzania. I have a home in Ghana. Now, when I say a home, I don't mean an actual, home that belongs to me.
Right.
I got people there.
Right.
And I can always go home. The second question she said was, will I ever live there? So my goal is, I'm 42. By the time I'm 50, I plan on moving to Africa by the time I'm 50. If I don't, I'm going to kill myself. So this is how I make my goals. I say, if I don't do it, I'm gonna kill myself. So that's the answer. So my goal is to live in Tanzania.
Nice. So I'm about to go. Hold, just give me 1 second, brother Bakar, because I gotta definitely big you up, brother Bakar, too. I don't want to. I know this is like over 2 hours, and I know we got things to do. I gotta get up in the morning. But brother Bakari, I don't know if you told her, but I know you start a shooting range class. You're teaching Black women how to shoot. You could probably explain that to her, or if you have any other questions you want to ask your sister before we in this live stream, you can go ahead. Go ahead, Brother Bakari.
Yes, I started where I teach black women to use weapons, mainly handguns, because most of them don't want to deal with the AR-15s, which is cool. But I believe the black man job is to protect. And since I know the black man is not going to always beat his woman, she have to know how to protect herself. So I've had 4 students that I've trained actually purchase their first handgun. I was teaching women, but now I actually have a man now that I'm teaching. He came with his wife. He was like, "Man, how much you charge? You've been showing my wife and her sister," because I was cool with what I said. "Man, I don't charge nothing." He said, "Man, I ain't gonna get on people my money. If I'd rather give it to a brother." I said, "I don't charge nothing, man." I've actually had 4 female students purchase their first handgun through my teachings to learn to protect themselves. And I'm trying to get bigger and make it bigger, and that is my goal. That's my goal. So we can
Do you mind telling me what city you in?
I'm in the Atlanta, Georgia area.
I'm in New York.
I'm pretty sure you know a lot of my people there.
My goal, we're looking to purchase some land. I had a friend show me an acre of land for $3,000.
Oh, really?
So we're trying to get that acre of land, but they go real quick when it's that cheap. Because what we want an outdoor gun range. I'm going to name it. We are going to name it Black Acres.
And that's all you need is 3,000
for that, and you own it. That's what it is. Yeah. So one of my friends been looking at it and doing everything is making sure it's a good piece of land, right? So
yeah,
we're going through all that. So if we can get that $3,000 for an acre, we want to build an outdoor gun range where we can actually do our training and do the things that we want, when we want, how we want. But we want it to be an outdoor gun range, and like I said, we're going to name it Black Acres. So
I would love to talk to you more about it. And you said you in Atlanta, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we need to talk more about it to make sure you get what you need. And there's a lot that we could talk. Like I said, I got a good grip of people in where you at. So it ain't too many degrees of separation through our political work, right? So
yes.
I know you're probably familiar because I haven't seen your face, but I feel like I do know you through some way or the other. I'm with George Jackson University. I don't know if you're familiar with George Jackson University, but I talk more to you hopefully if I can stay in contact with Guy and Courtney and yourself. But we need to try to set a goal date for that to happen.
Make it my email in the chat.
Huh?
Just put my email in the chat.
And
okay.
you
I have a hard time doing 2 things at once. You had to add up the do the math for me. So
no, that was right there. Simple. That was basic math. I was right there.
I'm pretty articulate, but I have a hard time multitasking.
Yeah, but I just that's my email where you can contact me. But I want to tell you something. You was talking about your Africa store, and I know guys about to close out, and you got to go. But I just want to say this. It reminded me of my mom when she went to Africa. Now I didn't get to go. I was in the military, and she went for 3 months. I couldn't get that much time off. Me and my wife had made. My wife passed away 14 years ago. We had made connections with people in Ghana, and some of our friends here was going to take us. She passed in '06. We are actually going to go in '07. So I haven't gone. My wife passed. I kind of like I don't even want to go on the trip right now. I'm just getting to the point again where I want to go because I couldn't go with her. But my mom went. She never said we was anything else, but she truly like because my mom was born in 1927. So she truly believed all the bad things they said about Africa. She wouldn't say we was Indian or nothing, but she would never say here we're African, right? Until she went. So she went, she did 3 months. She did 30 months. She did 30 days in Ghana. She left Ghana, stayed in the Gambia for 30 days, left the Gambia in Senegal, right? So I'm gonna make a long story short. What she said was when she made it back, she said she had never seen so much black love and black respect in her life. She said if she had moved to Africa when she's younger, she would have never come back to the United States. But her family and everything is here now, and that's the only reason she came back.
Man, I know it's a
I
true
just want
story. It's a true story.
I just want to tell you that story because I saw how happy you
Yes,
were when you were talking about it. Actually, yeah, one of my
it's a
niece
true
friends
story.
actually moved to Tanzania. She graduated college. She went to Tanzania on a mission. Look, they indoctrinated her to a tribe. She did her DNA test, and actually, her DNA came back like 25% of the tribe they indoctrinated her in. So then but she got a job in Tanzania to be a teacher to teach English in Tanzania, and they pay her good money to stay over there, give her a place to live. She don't have to pay for none of that. She
When
says
I,
she don't
when
want
I
to move
tell
back to
you,
the US.
when I tell you the doors are open.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my friend, she's in Tanzania. That's why I want to move to Tanzania. But my friend, her name is Kim Poole. She's with the Teaching Artists Institute. She's the one you need to follow. She is amazing. Big ups to Kim. She's in Tanzania, in Arusha, Tanzania right now. Man, when I tell you Africa, y'all,
I'm definitely going.
so open. Let's go. So
Yeah.
let's put two things on our agenda. Make a trip to Africa, get that land. We need to create agendas when we talk. We don't need to be talking about who this or who
Right.
that, who this, who that. Let's put some agenda.
Let's
Uh,
do it.
I like I said, I'm a political organizer, but I have been. I told you I went through a traumatic experience, right? I'm suffering from trauma that I was abused by a man, and I've been gravitating and getting my life the way it needs to be to venture to my political work where I was at. I work with a lot of people. They understand my struggle, my plight. They've been very patient with me and gathering myself. And I'm getting there. I'm getting there. And this is what I love to do. This is my passion. This is it. So let's go to Africa. Let's go.
I'm down.
Let's go. Let's get that land and create that gun range. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
and then I know I want to talk to you about so much stuff. I hope that I can come back.
We're coming back. Yeah, you coming back on my show. You got my
email, right?
Oh, I got Cool Cutter on here.
That's Cool Cutter.
Cool Cutter, introduce yourself. You got to unmute your mic, brother. Unmute your mic. Unmute your mic.
We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Oh, my bad. I'm at my partner's crib and what have. I'm in Oklahoma City and what have and stuff. Head to Pooh, brother God in Hollywood.
What's up, brother?
RBG to brother Bakari and God in Hollywood. Peace to Sistah. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your name.
Kilaika.
I like that. And Sister Shakur. I'm sorry and what have you stuff. Well, I can't be sorry and what have you stuff, but I'm gonna review this video. Check it out. I just want to give a shout out verbally, say what's up to y'all. I know Brother Guy and Brother Bakar said, "Damn, what the hell's going on, brother?" I talked to Brother Bakar on the phone early and what have you stuff. During the holidays and what have you stuff, you know, I don't do my live shows and I don't engage that much because I invest, you know, with family, friends, and what have you stuff. But I just want to come on this show to let y'all know, to tell y'all visually, verbally, peace to my intellectual buddies, Brother Bakari and Brother Guy, and say what's up to, I'll say it again, I'm mutilated. They know how I do.
Can I ask you a question?
By all means.
Is Melton Truck Lines, is that a family business?
No, it is. It's owned by an individual, by Bob Peterson. That's who I work for and what have you stuff. And it's been a blessing for me and what have you stuff. It's been it saved me. It saved me. It helped save me. Because the ultimate saving.
We were here earlier talking about supporting Black businesses and different things, right? So I don't know if Bob Peterson was Black or white or what nationality he was, but I just thought that Melton could possibly be a family business, you know, because it's not a name that I see, you know, like one of the big corporations. So I just thought I would inquire about it.
No, the dude that owns is a white man and what have you stuff, you know, and once you get to know me a little bit, you'll see where I'm coming at and what have you stuff. I'm not a business-minded person. I'm not oriented by business or anything that I'm stupid about. I'm very ignorant about is business, logistics, operations, and all that. I'm more of a nerd about history, ancient science, and ancient history, psychology, and all those kind of things. Then I'm an idealistic person. I'm philosophical. That's my thing. I'm an idiot when it comes to business and how to galvanize and coalesce people, you know, as a coalition in this campaign. I'm not. That's what I'm really. By me.
Okay. You know, we was talking earlier too. I talk a lot. I need to hurry up and get over here, but we was talking earlier about egos, and we talked about a lot of stuff, but egos was one. But I like how you was transparent about what you're capable of, what you're passionate about. You know, it takes a lot for a person to say that they're ignorant on a subject matter. Some people have a hard time doing that, and that's the prerequisites of organizing ourselves. We got to know what we're good at and what we're not. So I commend you for that. So you mentioned some things we're totally not good at, but we I look forward to building with y'all more. I really appreciate it, guy.
Anytime, sister. Anytime. But we're gonna close out. I'm gonna give these two brothers a chance to give their closing statement and give their
before they do that.
Go ahead, sister.
Before they do that, before you leave, you're gonna have me back for a part 2 because it was a lot we didn't talk about.
Of course, sister. Of course, I got you. But I'm gonna save you. I'm gonna save you for last. So I'm gonna give your closing statement as well before we head up. I'm gonna give these two brothers a chance. So Cool Cutter, I'm gonna start with Brother Bakari first, then Cool Cutter, then you. Tell they give them where they can look for you and tell her what you're about and your stance and whatever you know. But just definitely tell them where they can look for you on YouTube and stuff. Go ahead, Brother Bakar. Your mic is muted, brother.
Thanks you, Brother Guy Nollywood Jr., for having me on your panel today. Peace, sister. I'm going to say your name. Kilaika.
It's Kilaika. It's Kilaika.
Man, I just said don't say nothing. I had to go and slow. I was gonna break the syllables down, man. I was gonna say that.
It's like Malaika, which is Swahili for angel, but it's Kilaika, which is Kiswahili.
Okay. Kilaika Shakur. It's nice meeting you. Hopefully we talk again. I'll be seeing the next time you're on the panel. I thank the chat for listening to what I have to say. And if you all haven't heard of my channel, it's Brother Bakari. Go to it, smash the subscribe button, smash that notification bell, and let's build. And whoever didn't hear my show today, you get the opportunity. Go back and listen to it. It was called Mind Our Black Business. And it was about us coming in and we supporting and what black businesses we support. And whatever black business it is you support, it's going to be a weekly show. So you can come in and you can do that. And once again, Brother Guy Nollywood Jr., I thank you. Sister Kilaika, nice meeting you. I'm going to yield the mic. Once again, it's Brother Bakari. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, cool, Cutter. It's your turn.
All right, it's unscripted. I'm just gonna go and flow with the rhythm and my cadence and whatever. I'm Cuckoo Cutter the Trucker. You can find me on YouTube, Cuckoo Cutter the Trucker. I'm a person that shows a kaleidoscope and a compilation of my life and what have you stuff, and I try to share it and what have you. There's no way you can capsulize it. There's no way you can embody what have you stuff. But what I do, I utilize it for a journal to interact, use correspondence to speak to people, and utilize critical thinking and people to be genuine. And to people to have fun, enjoy themselves and what have you and stuff, because you only live once. You can't do it while you're dead, so you might as well do it while you're alive. I'm a very expressive person, and that's what I do and what have you. And I try to motivate people by not just showing the things that are good, the good qualities about myself. And I say this all the time. It's also the degrading qualities about myself and to hug that bad boy and what have you and stuff. So, and the sister says,
He's frozen.
be who I am.
Okay.
Oh, it was frozen. We didn't hear what you said.
Frozen for a little bit. Go ahead.
It was frozen. When did I get frozen?
You said, and the sister said something.
Right.
And about transparency. Yeah. You were talking about transparency of allowing yourself to not to be translucent, not to be how you could say opaque. When you have the ability to reflect and exert and resonate and permeate the part within inside yourself and being comfortable about yourself or using 360 degrees or 720 degrees of who you are. It's not just the good about yourself. It's also your thing. That's the one thing I stress to people when having this stuff. The thing, when I speak to people, when I interact and I engage with people, I tell people it's not the things that are good about yourself all the time. It's the things that you fear to look about within inside yourself and how you be receptive and how you connect with people. That's how you can connect with people. Because we could talk about all the good qualities and all these things and what have you. But if you can't tackle the things that there are vices in your life, you're not going to move forward. And so I just try to be, no, I'm not going to say I try. I just be honest, be authentic. And I say it every damn time. And I'm going to get off this mic. I said, man, fuck being real. Because I told you nowadays, being real has been misappropriated. The thing that people need to be is to be honorable. And that's the thing.
That's right.
So you can find me, sister. It's good to meet you. I like your energy too. Like Sister Omega. I'm glad that you found like Sister Omega, Brother Bakari. I've been corresponding with them for a few months and what have you. I've been knowing of them for a while. And we are brothers who speak intellectually, think critically, express our views, and we're not we ain't not no folks that's gonna kiss each other's ass. And if they see something I do wrong or incorrect, they'll come at me. But they come at me because I know their intention is to elevate me. Because I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna get off the mic. We're living in a day of time, anti-intellectualism. We're living in a day of a code of ignorance. We're living in a day of time where when somebody criticizes you and they prove you wrong, we look at it and it results to insult and apprehension when it shouldn't. When somebody proves you wrong and corrects you, you should not look at it as a defeat. You should look at it as a victory because somebody has brought you to another level of awareness, and that light bulb should go. And this is what these brothers do with me. And I say it all the time. I'm gonna say it all the time. These brothers right here, there's a lot of things I disagree with them. I say it every damn time. But we demonstrate that despite the fact that we disagree with things, there's a lot of things that we fundamentally agree upon. And we don't let those petty things that we disagree about, the things that we do agree about it intellectually, and we are intent for the future, long term, for the goal for us as an individual, collectively, and we coalesce. That's what we do. And like I always say, too weird to live, too unique to die. Thank you, Guy, sister. Nice to meet you, brother Bakari. Like always, thank you. You can find me on Cuckoo Cutter Trucker, YouTube. Please subscribe and what have you stuff. You're more than welcome. I like that orange mic and that orange tee you got, man.
I'm gonna get my mic
like
soon too.
Or something. I'm off the mic.
All right. Sister Raw asked a question. Kilaika, which country in Africa did you receive your name?
Yeah, I know you've been watching me rock back and forth, but I gotta use the bathroom so bad.
I know.
I just drunk all this water and
I know. I'm so sorry. We're gonna enter real quick. And matter of fact,
I'm just letting you know.
Yeah. We're gonna end it. Just hold it. Just hold it. Just give your closing statement. Answer. You can just with the long answer to sister's question, and just give your closing statement. We out of here.
Yeah, I seen her question, and I wanted to answer it. So, my name was given to me by my political family. So, I can't say my political family's name, but my name is Kiswahili, and my last name Shakur. There's a history of resistance there. So my political family gave me that name. But Kilaika is not often heard because Kiswahili is a bit different. So it wasn't from Africa. It's from Africa, but it wasn't like, you know how a lot of people go to Africa, get a name. In my political family, we have a bond to where we give names to each other that we have to live by. So that's what happened there. But as far as my closing statement, I'm elated this is like a therapeutic for me because like I said, I went through trauma and I'm going through healing process. And I'm a very powerful woman, but somebody tried to take my power away from me. But they fought me so hard because it was undeniable because of my relation to my plight as an African woman who's a Pan-Africanist. They struggle with that. And I struggle with being oppressed because it's against my moral code. Mm-hmm. So, however, as much as I struggled against it, I still had setbacks. And I'm healing. And this is a part of me remembering the greatness that I am and being able to give my light to the world because that's what my oppressor wanted to dim was my light. So thank you for letting me share my light.
You're welcome.
And don't judge me by my YouTube channels. Like I said, I don't know what's up there. So, that's not a total reflection of me, but I have a phone and an email. My email is georgejacksonuniversity@gmail.com. If you want to judge me by georgejacksonuniversity.com website. Judge me by that. You can judge me by the United States of Africa Revolutionary Party's website. I don't know the total URL on that, but I get it to you. But if you could just send me an email to georgejacksonuniversity@gmail.com, I would love to work with some people who want to be worked with. That would be amazing. And I appreciate y'all so much.
Definitely. Well, I wanted to say thank you for the chat. Thank you, sister. You've been an inspiration, a blessing. I'm glad you just came on my panel to give your knowledge and wisdom. I want to thank to my two brothers, Cool Cutter and Brother Bakari. Y'all the best. Y'all my brothers for life. We're gonna do this again. We're gonna definitely do a part 2. You coming back, sister. You coming back. You're definitely coming back. But I want to just close out. Peace to everybody. Have a good night. And I'll see you on the flip. Peace and love.
And us Pan-Africanists, we say forward ever, backwards never.
Nice. That's right. That's right. And Brother Bakari, what did Marcus Garvey always say? You always give your closing statement. He always say,
be black, buy black, think black, and everything else will take care of itself. Peace and one love.
Peace and one love, everybody.
All right.
Later.
I'm going to hit you up, brother.
All right, sister. I'll talk to you soon, all right?
Thanks so much.
Anytime.
We'll talk soon. Wonderful.
I'm just glad you I'm glad you just came on. Are we still live? I think
so.